This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to our daily roundup. We have a packed show today covering everything from high-stakes legal battles and security scares to major concert announcements and the latest developments in the world of entertainment.
Taylor Swift faces a lawsuit over her new album title.
Rihanna's home was targeted in a terrifying shooting incident.
Celine Dion fans struggle with a chaotic ticket presale.
Kanye West announces his first UK shows in years.
The Duggar parents respond to their son Joseph's arrest.
Netflix teases an animated return to the Hawkins world.
Scott Mills' team was blindsided by his sudden firing.
Experts weigh in on Tiger Woods' latest legal troubles.
A Vegas entertainer claims Swift stole her brand identity.
Radio 2 listeners react to the awkward morning broadcast.
Starting with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is facing a significant legal challenge from Las Vegas entertainer Marin Wade over the title of her latest album, The Life of a Showgirl. Wade, who created the column and brand Confessions of a Showgirl back in 2014, alleges that Swift and UMG Records have committed trademark infringement and unfair competition. According to the lawsuit, Wade has spent over a decade building her professional identity around this specific showgirl concept, which eventually expanded into a podcast and live performances. She claims that Swift's use of a nearly identical title is eroding her brand and confusing the audience she worked so hard to cultivate over the years in the competitive Vegas market.
The details of the filing are quite specific regarding the trademark process. It appears that Swift's initial attempt to register the trademark for The Life of a Showgirl was actually declined by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office because it was deemed too similar to Wade's existing registration. Despite this setback, the lawsuit alleges that Swift's team moved forward anyway, affixing the name to merchandise and retail channels. Wade is now seeking unspecified damages and a permanent injunction to stop Swift from using the title. It is a bold move against one of the most powerful figures in music, but Wade insists this is about protecting the only professional brand she has ever owned.
Now to Rihanna's home. A terrifying security breach at Rihanna's Beverly Hills home has reignited the conversation about celebrity safety. A Florida woman recently pleaded not guilty to attempted murder after allegedly firing 20 rounds from an AR-15-style rifle into the exterior of the singer's residence. At the time of the shooting, on March 8th, it is believed that Rihanna, a AP Rocky, and their 3 young children were all inside the house. This incident is just the latest in a series of frightening encounters for the billionaire, who has dealt with stalkers and trespassers in the past. The suspect now faces over a dozen felony charges and could potentially face a life sentence if she is convicted of the crimes.
This event highlights a growing crisis in Hollywood as high-profile break-ins and attacks become more frequent. Even with 24-hour security, electric gates, and advanced lighting, these properties remain targets for motivated individuals. Rihanna has invested heavily in security-first real estate, including a massive beachfront villa in Barbados that operates with biometric systems and a 34-person staff. However, the surge in crime in affluent Los Angeles neighborhoods is causing many celebrities to rethink their living situations entirely. Some are even moving toward high-security condos instead of traditional mansions. It is a stark reminder that despite having immense resources, the threat to personal safety remains a constant and evolving challenge for the world's biggest stars.
Next, Celine Dion's return. Celine Dion fans were ecstatic to hear about her upcoming 10-night residency at the Paris La Défense Arena, but that excitement quickly turned to frustration during the ticket registration process. The pre-sale, managed by the digital ticketing company Access, was described by many as a total shambles. Fans reported a confusing queue for a queue system, where they had to wait hours just for the chance to receive a code that might allow them to buy tickets later. The website was plagued by technical glitches, with some users being flagged as robots and others facing 4-hour wait times. For a star of Celine's magnitude, the digital infrastructure simply didn't seem prepared for the massive global demand from her dedicated followers.
The problems didn't stop at the wait times. International fans faced significant language barriers as the registration site was entirely in French, with no easy translation options. UK-based fans also reported that the system wouldn't accept their postcodes, effectively blocking them from the process. Some users even expressed fears of credit card scams after their cards were repeatedly refused by the glitchy interface. Despite the icon's triumphant return to the stage following her health struggles, the administrative side of the comeback has left a bitter taste for many. It highlights the ongoing issues with major concert ticketing systems that struggle to handle high-traffic events, leaving fans feeling exhausted before they even get to the checkout page.
Moving to Kanye West. Kanye West has announced he will headline all 3 nights of the Wireless Festival in London this July, marking his first UK performance in 11 years. This move is seen as a major attempt to rehabilitate his public image, following years of controversy, including his widely condemned anti-Semitic remarks. Earlier this year, Kanye took out a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal to apologize and explain how his bipolar disorder caused him to lose touch with reality. While some fans are eager for his return, there is significant skepticism regarding whether he will actually show up and perform as scheduled. His history of being late or walking off stage has made many ticket holders nervous about the upcoming festival dates.
The skepticism isn't unfounded, as Kanye has a track record of erratic behavior during live shows. Just last year in China, fans demanded refunds after he arrived 40 minutes late, and a similar incident occurred in South Korea. His infamous 2016 California show, where he left after only 3 songs, still looms large in the minds of concertgoers. Furthermore, Wireless Festival itself has faced criticism for logistical chaos in the past, including massive queues and sets being cut short due to strict curfews. With Kanye scheduled for 3 consecutive nights, the pressure is on both the artist and the organizers to deliver a smooth experience. It remains to be seen if this will be a successful comeback or another chapter of unpredictability.
Now, the Duggar family. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar have finally broken their silence regarding the arrest of their son, Joseph Duggar. Joseph was recently charged in connection with the alleged molestation of a 9-year-old child back in 2002. In a statement released through a representative, the parents expressed that they are completely heartbroken over the entire situation. This news follows a string of legal troubles for the family, as Joseph's wife, Kendra, was also recently arrested for endangering minors. The Duggars stated that they are currently focusing on supporting Kendra and her children during this incredibly difficult time. They also noted that they are praying for the victim and have asked the public for privacy as the legal process moves forward in the coming months.
The reaction from the public has been intense, given the family's long history of being in the spotlight for their conservative values and previous scandals involving other family members. While Jim Bob and Michelle are emphasizing their focus on family unity and prayer, many critics are looking closely at how these recurring legal issues are handled within the family dynamic. The statement mentioned that they appreciate the kind words and prayers from their supporters, but the gravity of the charges against Joseph and Kendra has left many followers shocked. As more details emerge from the court proceedings, the family continues to retreat from the public eye, relying on their representatives to manage the fallout of these disturbing allegations that have once again put them in the headlines.
Next, Stranger Things news. Netflix is not letting the Stranger Things brand fade away just because the main series has concluded. They recently dropped a trailer for a new animated interquel titled Stranger Things Tales from 85, which is set to premiere on April 23rd. This new series takes place during the winter of 1985, filling the gap between the second and third seasons. It follows the original group of kids, 11, Mike, Will, Dustin, Lucas, and Max, as they try to navigate a normal life in Hawkins, believing the Upside Down is finally closed. However, the trailer quickly reveals that a new threat is lurking beneath the town's snowy surface, proving that the peace in Hawkins is always temporary, and danger is never far away.
One of the biggest changes for this animated venture is the voice cast. Since the original actors have aged out of their roles, a new group of younger voice actors has been brought in to portray the beloved characters. The show also introduces a new character named Nikki Baxter, a tough girl with a mohawk who seems to be central to the new mystery. Showrunner Eric Robles has teased a new shark-like creature inspired by Jaws that will be stalking the characters from under the ice. Even though it is animated, the Duffer Brothers are still involved as executive producers to ensure the tone remains consistent with the original series. It is a clever way for Netflix to expand the universe while keeping the nostalgia of the mid-'80s alive.
Shifting to Scott Mills. The sudden firing of Radio 2 star Scott Mills has sent shockwaves through the BBC, especially since his own production team was reportedly left completely in the dark. Mills was dismissed last Tuesday following allegations regarding his personal conduct and a historic relationship dating back a decade to his time at Radio 1. What makes the situation particularly dramatic is that Mills hosted his Monday show as if nothing was wrong, even signing off by telling listeners he would be back the next day. Shortly after that broadcast, an all-staff email from the director of music announced his immediate departure. His longtime collaborators and producers only found out about the sacking at the same time as the general public, leading to a sense of total shock within the office.
The fallout from this decision has been described as absolute chaos behind the scenes. Mills was one of the corporation's highest-paid stars, and his departure has left a massive hole in the Radio 2 schedule. Gary Davies has been brought in as a temporary replacement, while bosses scramble to find a permanent host for the breakfast slot. The BBC has been very tight-lipped about the specifics of the allegations, but the timing of the firing, occurring just days after a complaint was made, suggests that the internal meeting was incredibly tense. For a team that had worked with Mills for years across various programs, the lack of warning has made the transition even more difficult. It remains a developing story as more details about the investigation continue to surface.
Now, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is once again at the center of a public scandal, following a recent DUI arrest in Florida. Addiction experts are now weighing in, suggesting that Woods has been in a cycle of losing control since his initial high-profile accident in 2009. That original crash triggered a massive scandal that exposed his infidelities and led to his divorce, and experts believe he has never truly recovered his footing. During this latest incident on March 27th, Woods was reportedly in a trance-like state and refused to take a drug test. Richard Tate, an addiction specialist, noted that when these types of incidents keep happening, it is a clear signal of a deeper struggle with pain management or prescription medication, rather than just a string of bad luck.
Public concern is growing, especially regarding why Woods continues to drive himself despite having the financial means to hire a chauffeur. Sources close to the golfer say he refuses to have a driver because of privacy concerns. He doesn't want anyone watching over him or knowing his every move. He reportedly believes he is perfectly fine to drive, even as his inner circle expresses deep worry about his well-being. Even former President Donald Trump commented on the situation, calling Woods an awesome person and expressing sadness over the arrest. As fans wonder if he will ever be able to return to professional golf, the focus has shifted from his swing to his health and safety. It is a difficult chapter for a legendary athlete who seems to be struggling with personal demons.
Back to Taylor Swift. The lawsuit against Taylor Swift by Marin Wade is gaining more traction as more details emerge about the alleged trademark infringement. Wade claims that Swift's new album title, The Life of a Showgirl, is a direct copy of her own brand, Confessions of a Showgirl. Wade is particularly frustrated because she has spent over a decade building her identity in the Las Vegas entertainment scene, using the name for columns, live tours, and digital media. She argues that Swift's massive global reach will cause the public to associate the showgirl aesthetic with the pop star first, making it look like Wade is the one doing the copying. This legal battle is not just about a title. It is about the commercial impression and the overlapping markets both women are targeting.
Wade's legal team has pointed out a bit of irony in the situation, noting that Swift is usually very aggressive about enforcing her own trademarks against others. The lawsuit alleges that Swift and her team knew the title was problematic because the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office had already flagged the similarity. Despite this, they allegedly moved forward with a massive rollout of merchandise and branding. Wade is seeking undisclosed damages for unfair competition and false designation, essentially asking the court to force Swift to stop using the phrase on her products. It puts Swift in a position where she might have to consider a buyout or a significant rebranding of her latest project. This case highlights the complexities of intellectual property in the age of global superstars and niche brands.
Finally, Radio 2 updates. The atmosphere at Radio 2 has been described as incredibly awkward following the sudden departure of Scott Mills. During the first broadcast after the news broke, stand-in host Gary Davies made absolutely no mention of his former colleague. Listeners noticed that Davies seemed to be playing records back-to-back, avoiding any banter or discussion that might lead to the topic of Mills's firing. While the 7 a.m. news bulletin also skipped the story, the 7:30 a.m. update finally addressed the situation, mentioning that Mills was being investigated for serious historical offenses. This silence from the presenters has been compared by some listeners to the Basil Fawlty approach of just not mentioning the war, creating a very strange listening experience for the morning audience who were used to Mills's presence.
The tension was further heightened when Davies began plugging Radio 2's Eurovision coverage. This was seen as particularly awkward because Mills has been a long-standing commentator for Eurovision, and his absence from the upcoming event will be deeply felt. Fans on social media have been vocal about their confusion, with many criticizing the BBC for failing to address the elephant in the room more directly. Behind the scenes, the station is in a state of flux as they search for a permanent replacement for one of their most popular slots. With Mills earning a significant salary and having a massive following, the corporation is under immense pressure to stabilize the ship. For now, the focus remains on keeping the music playing while the legal and professional fallout continues to be managed by the higher-ups.
That wraps up our briefing for today. Thank you for joining us for this daily update on the stories that matter. Be sure to follow us for your next daily briefing.